Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, October 17th. Boston mayoral candidate Annissa Essaibi-George is our guest this morning. Let's go on the record. Early voting begins this week. The polls have the citywide Boston City Council running from behind. Can she close the gap with Michelle Wu? The candidate is here to make her case this morning. Let's go on the record.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Welcome to OTR for this Sunday morning. I'm Ed Harding, along with News Center 5's political reporter Janet Wu. It's great to have you with us. And with us this morning is Annissa Essaibi-George, sitting alongside. She is one of the two finalists in the Boston mayoral race, currently a member of the City Council. Born in Boston, she's also a small business owner, former public school teacher. She holds degrees from BU and UMass Boston. It's great to see you. Thank you for being here as we close in on the election, which is early in November, by the way. It's November 2nd, so it's right around the corner.
And folks are going to be able to do early voting at the end of this week, so it's right on your doorstep.
Here we go.
So the latest poll shows that you're trailing far behind Michelle Wu. What can you do, with early voting starting this week to win this? Or do you think that the numbers in these polls are misleading or they're completely wrong?
Well, I think that the numbers are misleading. And if we look back to the preliminary, all of the polls just before Election Day had me actually in third place and fourth place. So, the numbers are not real. I don't believe that they're real. I do believe that we are still operating, though, from behind. We've got a little bit of work to do to catch up. And I'm grateful for the support that I have from countless volunteers. And we've hit so many doors, we've made so many calls, and we've reached so many of our city's residents. It is about getting that vote out. It's about making sure that we count our ones, which we've been doing a great job doing, and getting to Election Day. And I'm confident in our ability to win. We've felt the momentum throughout the course, especially over these last couple of weeks. And I'm just excited to get to Election Day.
Well, the polls say it's like over 30-point difference between you and Michelle Wu. What do you think the number is? Is it closer to 10, 20? And that's still a sizable, sizable gap. So where do you go to get those votes? What demographic are you after?
So I'm still, like I was in the primary, focused on every Bostonian. This is about our entire city. This is about every community, every neighborhood. And certainly there's conversation about, we'll focus on the super voters, focus on this block of people or that neighborhood. That has not been my style as an at-large city councilor. I'm committed to representing the entire city, and I'm committed to making sure that I have and pull from every neighborhood, every demographic, every group of people, every age group. That is how you lead, and that is how you do this work. It has to be done that way.
That very poll, which shows the difference that Janet was talking about, also shows 20% undecided. So while that undecided in and of itself couldn't close the gap, it's still a large number as we close in on the election.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure following our conversation today, the talking heads will come in and discuss what they think the outcomes will be. I'm confident. I hear it on the doors. I hear it in my conversations. I hear it in from the volunteers that are working so hard every single day to get us over the finish line. The work is important, and I'm committed to doing it. I can't wait.
So let's build on the differences between you and Michelle. Is it fair to say that an issue where you differ is on rent control?
Yes,
okay.
I'd say that's very fair.
70% of Boston voters support rent control. Are they wrong? Are the 3/4 of the Boston voters wrong?
Well, I think that rent control has been sold on a little bit of a fake promise. First of all, rent control needs to be determined up at the State House, not at City Hall. I think also as a city, and I lived through rent control, being born and raised in this city, we tried that experiment and it failed, and we see it failing in so many other places. And there is a reason why pre-preliminary of the five of us that were running, none of us supported rent control. There is a reason for that. It creates disinvestment in our neighborhoods. People walk away from housing. It actually freezes rents at a high rate, and it pushes our city's people, our residents, further and further away from downtown, further and further away from job centers, further and further away from the communities that they've helped build, that they've made home. And it doesn't solve the problem. We need deeper affordability in the rental market. We need more opportunities for home ownership to stop gentrification, to stop displacement. Opening the doors and creating direct pathways to home ownership is a priority of mine, and is a big part of the answer to the problem we're facing.
We could probably talk about a half an hour just on rent control, but let's move on to another issue that is equally important, if not more important, and has to do with police funding. You want to boost the budget. Polling numbers show, however, that white supporters support your concept, which is increasing funding, but the majority of black and brown people do not. What do you say to those voters?
So I want to say very clearly, I don't support, as my opponent does, defunding the police. We need a safe city. We also need a police department that is transparent, that is accountable, that is diverse, and that's doing the work.
I don't think she's ever used the word
safe,
defunding.
I think we can probably go back and we'll see that that's not the case. And the defund movement, walking away from creating both safe and just communities, it can't be the answer when we think about Boston. As mayor of this city, there's great responsibility that I have around housing, around our schools, around basic city services, around public health, which I hope we have an opportunity to talk about public health, but also around public safety. We need to make sure that we have a city that is safe. I am committed to reforms that we need across our policing agency, in particular BPD. I've committed to the recommendations put forward by the Boston Police Task Force, and I'm committed to starting that effort day one of my administration. Michelle has not said that. She's committed to start talking about it after she's elected mayor. There is a very clear difference. If we truly want transparency, accountability, greater diversity, and improvements in policing and improvements in the relationship between our police department and community and residents and community-based organizations, we have to get to the work. We've got to stop talking about it, start doing it. As mayor of this city, I am prepared to do that day one.
Of course, there are many nuances to that subject that we also could be exploring, but again, I want to jump to another question. The last time you were here, you said you hadn't figured out yet if there should be a vaccine mandate on all city workers. Acting Mayor Kim Janey is now enforcing one. Did she do the right thing? Do you agree with her?
She did, and we've seen, unfortunately, about 800 of our city employees not fulfilling that commitment to the vaccine mandate. And, last night, or a couple of nights ago now, had the opportunity to talk about that out loud in our debate. And I'm going to say it again to our city's workers. I'm going to look directly at the camera. Those of you who have not yet been vaccinated, please, please, please get vaccinated. We need you back to work. We need you back on the front lines. You've served this city so well. I want you healthy. Please get that vaccination. Please come back to work. The people of Boston need you.
When you were here the last time, it was just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
You had not yet decided.
It was a little bit more than a few weeks ago, and we've gotten a lot more information. It's important to follow the science.
But it was well in a year into the pandemic, and also it had been many months since the vaccine was available. So what does that say about your leadership ability that you could not make a decision at that point, but only are following what Kim Janey is doing?
I'm not following what Kim Janey is doing. I've gone back, looked at the science, looked at the reports, talked to public health officials, because as mayor of this city, I need to surround myself with experts. I need to empower the leaders that will be part of my team and make sure that we are making thoughtful decisions. The people of Boston have worked so hard to get to this point. They deserve, the people of Boston, for us to make thoughtful decisions. The vaccine mandate is something important for us to do as a city. We need to get shots in arms, and we are still short of that herd immunity. We're getting close to that number. We see still in our communities of color a lack of trust. We've got to work on education. We've got to share information. And we have to work in partnership with community-based organizations to make sure that they are sharing information with communities that are so desperately in need of greater access to that vaccine, continued access to testing, and continued access to information. We've got to share it with all of our communities across the board. We've got to reach herd immunity if we're going to see the other side of this pandemic. You
have gotten a lot of attention in recent times about your TV ads and your Boston accent. In fact, before the show started, we were talking about that as well. You're Boston, I'm the mother, the teacher, and I want to be the mayor.
Is that how I say it?
That's how I say it. Because I grew up in Newton. This is home to me. But
it's pretty close. Pretty close.
And you know what?
I'll do it for you one time. Want me to do it for you one time?
Go. Ready, go. See, the pressure's on now.
Now the pressure's on. I'm a mother, I'm a teacher, and I want to be mayor. I mean, this is the silliest thing ever.
Okay, but that's the question.
I am so proud. I am so proud to be a Boston girl. This city has given me everything. I think about the experience my parents had immigrating to this country and how grateful I am that they made Boston their home so that their daughter could be a mother, their daughter could be a teacher, and their daughter, I can't imagine a moment that they thought as immigrants. Again, my mother coming as a young child, my father coming as an adult who was mocked for his accent, who was discriminated against because of his accent.
But he didn't have a Boston accent.
No, he had a very heavy Arab accent. He also, I think, towards the end had a little bit of a Boston Arab accent. But I don't think anyone could ever have imagined my mother, who was born in a war camp, my father, who faced terrible discrimination immigrating to this country. none of them could imagine that their daughter would be mayor of this city. And I am so proud to have this accent. I'm so proud of the experiences I've had growing up in this city, from grammar school to high school to college to work to summer camp to volunteer opportunities to being civically engaged to coaching to being a student athlete myself, raising my family here. It came with an accent. It is part of who I am. It is part of my experience, for sure. And then we've got this ad, which happened by accident. It was a whole lot of fun when we got to it. I'm proud to be a mother. I'm proud to be a teacher. I'm proud to be mayor of this city someday. I hope it will happen in the next couple of weeks.
And we've reached the point where we have to sell some cars. So we'll be right back.